Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of the Freshman 15 College Football Podcast. Right back alongside Tyler Moore of More Outdoors, talking about college football in about 15 minutes. And it's been a while. We're now getting closer and closer to college football season, about 7 weeks away before we hit the week 0. So a lot happening. So don't want to waste any time. Want to get right to it in the Freshman 15. You know, it's funny though, right? Because we talk about just sports in general. And you know how we have like in the June months, everything's kind of dead. You have the NBA is over with. I know you're not a big NBA dude, but the NBA is over with. Hockey's over with. Baseball's kind of going, and then you have not much happening. Now we have free agency. We have college football coming around soon. There's a lot of sports going on right now, and it's perfect because we kind of hit like the late summer and run right into all our fall sports just like that, like ASAP. So, it's gonna get crazy here in a moment, man. So. Tonight's kind of a special episode because we're looking at kind of our big storylines heading into college football season 2023. And you and I had a show back a while ago talking about running backs, right? Just the overall evaluation of running backs financially. Do running backs matter? What's their impact? So today we're kind of having the inverse conversation about running backs and do they still matter, but at the collegiate level and what's their impact. So we thought was cool for the audience out here listening to the Freshman 15, which, by the way, if you haven't already done so, hit the like button, hit the sub button to get more videos like this one coming up. We talked about tonight kind of who are the top running backs in the nation in tandems, right? Who are the best duos out there? Who are the top guys? Because you know it because as a Big Ten fan, the running game is still a thing. Running game still matters. You can still dominate the trenches. Also win games by way of your running game, right? Your running backs, whether it be by the quarterbacks or the running backs. But tonight, to be specific, running backs. So tonight what we're going to do, Tyler, is you and I are going to break down collective top 5 running back duos in the NCAA tonight on the Freshman 15. My guys kind of stem from the returning players, right? Like that's kind of the big one. A lot of returning players based on certain circumstances and situations. And again, that kind of breeds that. Having players come back and having these programs come back makes a major difference in the world. And also kind of a teaser, we'll have a pseudo teaser for one of our episodes this summer talking about talent disparities across the board. So again, like I said, hit that like button, hit that sub button. We got some episodes coming up you're not going to want to miss on the Freshman 15. I think about a program kind of historically as well, like their systems and how they operate for my number 5. I think about Oregon. Oregon is a team that when they run the ball, it's out of a spread offense, right? You think of your Michael James. You think about guys from the ends of the world. Like they spread you out to run the ball down your throat very creatively. Think about Oregon alongside Bucky Irvin and Noah Whittington from last year. So I know you talk about the Oregon offense. A lot of the attention will go to Bo Nix. It's a lot of buzz. But running backs within that system deserve a lot more respect. Bucky Irvin has kind of the perfect combination. He's kind of built in the same mixture of the DeAnthony Thomases a bit. Maybe something like he's quick, he's fast, he's elusive, he's shifty, really nice burst and some nice shake, and doesn't mind a little bit of contact either. Got some physicality to his game. And then you have a guy like Noah Whittington, who's a transfer from Western Kentucky from a couple years ago. He's got long speed. This duo, based on what they do together within that offense, I think it's different because they're also pretty good pass catchers too. I think both combined for about 65 receptions last year. And both are around kind of that mark close to 1K just last year alone. So I think even now more so that the players that they lost, throughout this season, I think you probably see a big emphasis from the Ducks having a very solid ground attack with 2 good running backs. So my Ducks are at number 5.
So number 4, and yeah, this one was, I can't even know if I can consider these guys like a true like duo, but it's going to be Alabama. They have the deepest running back class in the nation, in my opinion. So they got McLean, they got Williams, Miller, Haynes, and Young. The latter 2 are 2 freshmen. All 5 backs will see significant snaps, as we've seen Bama do in the past, and it should be their bread and butter. McLean, I think he's more like Mark Ingram, and Haynes, he's going to be a true freshman this year. He reminds me of another running back there you may cover later in Nick Singleton. Miller, he's more of your power back. He reminds me a lot of Derrick Henry. Powerful downhill runner, speed power combo. and Williams is their utility back as a pass pro, go to goal situations. But each back serves a purpose and will be utilized as a focal point in that offense that really lacks a definitive QB. Because like we may get to this later on, but they don't have a quarterback right now, really, because they have. I was doing a little research, and they have like 4 quarterbacks that are still competing for that one. So you got 4 quarterbacks, you got none. So it's going to be a very running back focused Alabama team, loaded on defense like they always are. But that focal point is going to be those running backs. So it's not really a duo, but that it's going to be that stable, I should say, is going to lead that team to where they want to go if they're going anywhere.
That's more like of a projection based on what you have.
Yeah.
Like I said, no quarterback means you become kind of heavy-handed, so we're going to run the ball. And based on what they have in the trenches, it makes all the sense in the world to run the ball. So your duo, because you have a top 2 or you have pecking order, right? Your duo may become a trio or quartet running backs thanks to not having the best quarterback situation. But at number 3, you hit it right there with Penn State. Penn State has Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. And if you're noticing a theme here, guys, I mean, it's the Big Ten. They're going to run the football. That's going to be their objective. And not much changes over time. They want to pound that rock on people. But I think Singleton arguably might be the best running back. For his experience, be the nation's best running back in the country.
Yeah.
He's a true freshman that went off. He's still a teenager. He's still 19 years old. Looks like a grown man out there. He's got the juice. Penn State, I think, has made huge jumps just by having him as their running back. I think they were like 141st in the nation in rushing attempts, rushing yards, jumped up to 44th last year, and he's not alone. Katron Allen can also ball as well. Allen didn't have that signature game last season like Singleton did when he went up against Maryland and just destroyed them early. But you look like Penn State. It just reminds you of the old school days of Penn State, running the football, having the right guys in place. Those 2 guys can play, and I do think that you're going to see a lot of attention on Katron Allen, Nick Singleton. Singleton might get that vibe for maybe a Doc Walker Award winner probably this year. So number 3, I got Penn State, Nick Singleton, and Katron Allen.
Yeah, so that's a good one because those 2 both were true freshmen, and they absolutely lit it up, and that they're only going to get better with another year in that system. And I mean, it's crazy the talent that they were able to recruit at the running back position. But my number 2 is another Big Ten team. Much like Bama, this running back room is loaded, and it's going to be Ohio State. So you're led with Mayan Williams and Travion Henderson at the top. So following that up, you get Evan Pryor and the linebacker running back transfer from ASU, Chip Trainum. He is now going to play specifically running back. So they did switch from Ryan Day as their offensive coordinator, and it's going to be Brian Hartline. I almost forgot his name, man. I don't know how I did that. Yeah, Brian Hartline. So already fielding like one of the best duos in the country when they're healthy is Ohio State, and they're looking to regain basically their health in 2023. So then you can automatically move them up to like this is top 5, so like tier 1. So Henderson this offseason, he has foot surgery, but last season he only had like 600 yards because he was out most of the season. But in 2021, when he was healthy, he had 183 carries, 1,248 yards, 15 rushing touchdowns, and like another 6 or 7 receiving touchdowns. And he's the most dynamic of the bunch. He reminds me a lot of Bijan Robinson. Mayan Williams, he'll be slated as the starter, like I said, because Henderson is hurt right now, and he's the power back. He had like 850 yards last year or something like that, and he amassed 14 touchdowns off that alone. And he was hurt too. So you get to the playoffs. We heard Henderson wasn't really playing because he was hurt. Mayan Williams wasn't playing. So you had Evan Poyer. He stepped up and he played a big role in what he had. But like I said, Henderson reminds me of a guy that we talked about in a previous episode in Bijan Robinson. And you can see it in the tape that he's a home run hitter anytime he gets the ball. So when he's healthy, him and Mayan Williams, along with that explosive Ohio State offense and the way that they play and control games, that's my number 2. Could be number 1, number 3. It doesn't matter because those top 3, they're going to be interchangeable week to week.
that's actually kind of what we were getting at before. So
Yeah.
we talked about this quote unquote backstage. We kind of came to that conclusion that these programs, these running backs, can kind of be interchangeable. They're so dynamic, they're so loaded, and they have the talent to boot with it to be anywhere between every single week 3-1. Even last year we talked about Travion Henderson, and I know you were really staunch about that, of Travion being the most underrated running back in the nation based on what he can do, what he's done before, and what he probably will do this season. Is that type of guy, and he's going to go from underrated to very, very talked about, highly discussed as a running back if he's healthy, of course, working in that tandem now with Brian Hartline. And like we said, it's no surprise here that the top running back duo belongs in the Big Ten with the other ones that are so good. But our number one here is going to be Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah.
All right, man. But Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum, and I think you'll see why. They've been just cranking these guys out as of late. You had Hassan Haskins not too long ago, and this duo of Edwards and Corum. And before getting hurt, I'm pretty sure that we had Corum in the conversation for the Heisman Award last year. It was just that good. And people were talking about McCarthy and his emergence within that offense and getting better, but you have to be thankful for those running backs, or be grateful to those running backs, or give them their credit. The running backs had a phenomenal season for the Michigan Wolverines last year. Blake Corum, again, a Heisman candidate. And he gets hurt, then we have Edwards step in, who was great last season. Just for reference sake, before being injured, Corum had 1,400 yards last year.
Yeah.
He was an absolute force. Then you get Edwards to jump in and near 1K in relief of Corum, and he was hot, man. Look at his numbers as the season wore on.
Yeah.
So he had 100. It was 100 yards on Purdue, ECU,
Ohio State,
Ohio State for, was it 200 yards?
Yeah. Yep.
2 bills on Ohio State.
Yep.
That's real. Like, that's real right there. I mean, game recognizes game, and those two together are a tough duo to deal with. So I say look out for them, man. Number one, again, any given week it can be 1, 2, or 3 on our list, but right now, give me these two guys as the top guys in the country.
Yeah. So I'm gonna throw my honorable mention in there, and I'm gonna tell you that it's gonna be Wisconsin was my honorable mention, because the last 20 years they've been a really run heavy team, and this year they fired Paul Chryst. They bring in Luke Fickell. He brings in like a more air raid offense with Paul Longo. They bring in a quarterback from SMU, Mordensi. Then they bring in their two star wide receivers. So Braylon Edwards, he did have 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns last season, and that's with loaded boxes. So bringing in an offense that has a chance to lighten the box a lot more, put these running backs in better situations to run more efficient runs. That's gonna be huge for Allen. No one really talks about him, but him and Morency, they're gonna go off. So that would be like my honorable mention. So Wisconsin would be my honorable mention out of those top 5. So yeah.
So we're going here out of our 6 for the Big Ten.
Yeah. 4 of 6. Yeah. And then the other teams, if you wanted to say the other teams, I think Ole Miss and Arkansas are like 2 really good teams that have really good running backs too.
I was feeling those two. So it's funny. So we can talk about who was also considered. I was looking at Ole Miss, then I thought about Zach Evans no longer being there. But is it Raheem Sanders? I'm saying his name. I'm probably saying his name all wrong, from Arkansas.
Yeah,
I'm probably butchering his name, but yeah, he's one guy as well. And I think he more so of like a lead guy, because the duo is pretty solid, but he was fantastic. If you incorporate the quarterback's contributions in the backfield, they look pretty potent as well. So also considered, man, I'm feeling you on Arkansas and Ole Miss for sure.
Yeah, and I think they said that kid from Ole Miss, I can't think of his name, but they said he could probably be top 2 or top 3 back in the nation. So it's no slight on those guys, but I mean the 6 teams that we named off, those duos / stables are better than the whole running back room of those other teams.
No arguments here, man. None whatsoever. Oh, all right, bro. Looks like we got a lot of football fodder for the season to start with.
Yes, sir.
But any last thoughts, though?
No, man. Just you guys, like LP said, subscribe, follow, do all that stuff. But we're gonna drop an episode later on the season about talent disparity and systems. So that should be a pretty good episode for everyone to tune into. So other than that, you guys, everyone stay safe. It's 4th of July, and yeah.
Thanks, man. That's true. So, football fanatics, man, football nerds, definitely hit that like, hit that sub button. Once again, on the LP Cruise. Once again, back with the LP and Tyler Moore on the Freshman 15 podcast. As always, peace.
Peace.